Good morning, SLU. Hi, we are excited to be here and on a Monday morning. It is Ignatius Day, so A through L's are in the building today, but somebody else who's in the building with us today, we're so excited, is Sarah Colangelo from Knox College, which is in Illinois, and it is a small liberal arts college. And if I'm a SLU High guy, and that is all I know about Knox College, and I pretend I'm walking into the room to meet with you like we would if there wasn't a global pandemic during activity period, and maybe I have my Gus's pretzel in my hand that I just picked up from campus ministry because they're selling pretzels today. But I'm coming in and I'm curious. What can you tell me about Knox College, Sarah?
Yeah, you're right. Knox is a small private liberal arts college. We're in Galesburg, Illinois. We're about 3 hours away from St. Louis, depending on how you drive it. I drive a little slow, so it takes me the full 3. We're about halfway between Peoria, Illinois, and Davenport and the Quad Cities. So those are your 2 sort of like bigger cities. Galesburg's about 33,000 people. So it still has, your luxuries like Taco Bell and Buffalo Wild Wings, but it's small enough to have things like local businesses and cool shops. We're across the street from the county courthouse. There are 2 big hospitals. Yeah, we're a college of about 1,200 students. So classes are very conversation-based, very discussion-based. You're going to have the kind of relationships with your faculty that you have with your faculty at SLU High, right? They know you, they care about you. They're going to get interested in the things that you're interested in. I always say that faculty who teach at colleges like a Knox, those are faculty who choose to teach at a place like a Knox. In the same way, they probably do at a place like SLU High. They choose to work with students really closely. They want that experience, and they want to live in Galesburg. They want to be part of that community in a really big way. So it's a neat little spot. It's a very cool little spot.
That's great. How many majors do you offer, and maybe what are the most popular?
Great question. Yeah, a whole slew of majors. Sorry, that was not a cute joke.
I see what you did there.
I didn't mean to do that. Lots and lots and lots of majors. So pretty much you name it, things in the sciences, things in the humanities, quite a lot. Things that are most popular on campus. Knox offers both Bachelor's of Arts degrees and Bachelor's of Science. You can do a BA or a BS. We're just undergraduate. But probably the most popular programs on campus are biology. So biology pre-med track is very, very popular on campus. We just mounted a whale skeleton in our sciences building, which is very exciting. And then creative writing is probably up there. Those are probably the 2 most popular. So creative writing, if you're somebody who loves English, who loves to write, or who loves to do analytical readings of things, creative writing is a separate department from our literature department. Economics is popular. International relations is popular. Knox is largely international. We're about 19% international. So I think most colleges are politically aware. Knox tends to be pretty globally aware as well. Those sorts of things. Political science is popular, and psychology is popular.
Wow. Oh my gosh. So creative writing. So all you AP English guys, all you Sisyphus guys, Sisyphus is our literary magazine, Sarah.
Oh, perfect. Yeah. Knox has a great, actually a bundle of literary magazines. We have 3 or 4 on campus. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I don't know of very many small colleges that can say that they have that many. Are there different focuses for the different literary magazines?
They are. So the primary literary magazine is called Catch, and Catch is very cool. So Catch has a student editorial board that is paid, but they choose the paper stock, they choose the fonts, they do everything, and that's the one that people know about. It's an award winner. It's very cool. But then there are a few others. So there's a genre lit magazine and a separate magazine called Cellar Door that is not. Everybody gets into Cellar Door, right? It's not as selective, but the catch is that you have to attend a workshop with your peers. So sometimes faculty will submit to it and you can workshop your faculty, things like that.
Okay, wow. Oh, that's so Neat that you have that. I love that. So for pre-med, we do have quite a few kids who are interested in that, as
Excellent.
you probably know. Um, so it's not a major, we know that,
Right.
right?
Yes.
So is it just an advising program?
Is
And
most students, yeah. Go ahead, sorry. Most students will do bio or biochem, sometimes chemistry as their major. They are working with a faculty advisor. So the faculty advisor on campus, Judy Thorne, helps students to do MCAT prep. Helps make sure that you have those great research opportunities, whether that's, plasticizing whale bones so that it can be hung up, or doing shadow work. There are two local hospitals in Galesburg. One more local hospital and one large OSF complex with several clinics attached to it. So a lot of students will shadow there, and our faculty advisor has, connections to those places and can match people up. So that's a big piece of it. There's also, quite a lot of connection with alumni, that sort of thing. And we have an early admission program with George Washington University in Washington, D.C., where students can apply to George Washington University at the beginning of their junior year. And George Washington can get back to them with a decision early so that you're going early. Now, if you don't get in with that program, you can still apply to George Washington later, but you can get in early.
Oh, that's really nice to know. I love that. How is the relationship between Knox College and the city of Galesburg?
Great question. They were actually founded at the same time. So I think they've grown up together in a lot of ways. So the two were founded at the same time by a group of abolitionists. So they're very much united in this kind of quest for equity, that sort of thing. It's funny because I think a lot of people see the local courthouse and they see the brick and they think it's part of campus. And it very much feels like part of campus. Galesburg is a city that I think is enriched by Knox, and Knox is enriched by being in a place like Galesburg. Knox is the second largest employer in town. The railroad is the first. We are an Amtrak city, which is cool. But yeah, Knox students will go out into the community, and folks from Galesburg will come to campus to see performances and games and things like that. So it really is congenial and happy. I think sometimes you'll have folks from Galesburg who sort of, who might think that, college students are a bunch of hippies. But I think that that's pretty standard when you're looking at a small city. Galesburg tends to be a pretty progressive city, which is nice, and suits Knox very well. But I think when there are arguments or clashes, the two handle things and work things out in a really beautiful way, with conversation, which is cool.
Oh, that's neat. It sounds like a really symbiotic relationship.
It really is. It really is, in a way that I think is unique. They don't feel separate at all. I don't feel like there is that sort of stark division between the two. I don't think that Knox would be what it is without Galesburg, and I think the same is true for Galesburg and Knox.
Yeah, they really feed off each other, so it's a lot less of a town-gown division. It's just, yes, we're living with each other, and sometimes that's really fun, and we'll work it out if it's not.
Exactly. It really is, and in a really nice way, which is cool.
Mm-hmm. What are some fun things to do for college students in the area?
Great question. Yeah. So I think that a lot of folks do find a lot of fun. I mean, we were walking distance on campus from sushi and coffee and a Korean restaurant and a Jimmy John's, if that's more your speed, and a lot of cute shops. So there's a lot of local food, a little local organic food store. There are a lot of local gift shops and antique mall, which might not be as interesting, to your students, but there are some cool little stores. There's actually a tabletop gaming store and a bookstore and things like that, all walking distance from campus too, things like that. I mean, there's Target as well, if that's, again, something that you're more interested in. We have an 8-screen AMC movie theater. There's a beautiful lake in town that a lot of students will go hike. There's a hot air balloon festival there in the summer, which is cool. So quite a lot there. There's a drive-in movie theater, quite a few places to walk up and get ice cream and things like that. It's a very pedestrian-friendly city and a very bike-friendly city, if that's stuff that you're interested in. A lot of students will get involved even in local politics, or get involved with some of the local businesses. I think I could talk about this all day, but I think that one of the cool things about being in a small city the size of Galesburg, is that you can go to a small business in town and say, hey, I want to help you. I want to do an internship with you, and I'm going to build it with you. And we're going to do exactly, you get exactly what you want to out of it, which is cool.
Oh, that's really neat. I like that for our self-starters. And it sounds like a really good combination of students who are initiators, but also students who would like a little bit of scaffolding and guidance. Does that make
Yeah,
sense?
that does make sense. There really, I mean, there truly is. I think that the ability to not have to compete for internships and shadow opportunities at the courthouse, for example, or with local politicians and local lawyers, local attorneys, or at the hospitals is really great. But and local business people, but the ability to, again, yeah, if you want to customize, if you want to build something unique, you can do that in a big way in Galesburg. It's really a small city. I think there's, I very seldom call it a small town because it really is a city. And again, I use this word micropolitan a lot to describe what it is, because a lot of small towns around it converge in Galesburg.
Yeah. Well, I have to go back to something that you were talking about
Mhm.
earlier because I just found it astounding. How does Knox College end up 19% international
Great
students?
question.
That is amazing.
Yeah, students really come from all over the world. I think that that sometimes folks don't realize that. So Knox is one of the 40 colleges that change lives. So a lot of students do find us through the Colleges that Change Lives consortium. Now, I always say that if you're doing it right, there isn't a college that won't change your life, but right, I mean, and I'm sure you would agree. The Colleges that Change Lives consortium, a big piece of what makes us, what gives us, I suppose, the right to call us such a thing, ourselves such a thing, is that hands-on experience is pretty profound, right? You cannot leave Knox or a place like Knox without having done something outside the classroom, be that an internship or a job shadow or a research, real research. In a way, that level of comfort that students have in labs and that kind of thing is really astounding. And so that I think attracts folks from all over the world. And the fact that Knox has sort of been historically international. Knox was the first college in Illinois to educate women and students of color. It was one of the first in the nation to do so. So again, sort of history of access, that kind of thing. But it definitely makes, I think, in a small community that is so international and has folks from so many different states and things like that, it really is enriching because you can't really, you always have to sort of be willing to learn from people around you, right? Which is sort of nice.
Yes. This makes me want to grab somebody's hand and start teaching. I'd like to teach the world to sing.
Oh, no.
That old Coca-Cola commercial.
Coca-Cola.
People from all over the world. It's just amazing to me. I love that. I do. This just gives me so much better a feel of Knox, just having this conversation with you, Sarah, than looking at any literature or review books or anything like that. This
Yeah.
is great.
You have to, I think, especially at small colleges like this, you have to get the vibe. And sometimes for students, I think it's not always getting the vibe from me, it's getting the vibe from a current student. So if there are students who want to talk to current students, I can make that happen.
Oh, interesting. So in the days of pandemic, do you just call on somebody that you know who would like to Zoom with someone? Is that usually what you do?
You can definitely do. There's quite a few ways. I mean, students can email me or text me or call me, or if you go on Knox's website, you can actually search "talk with a current student," and it sends a student that you can pick from a menu of current students.
Oh, I that. So it might be somebody who's majoring in something that you want to major in. See, this is something that you don't get a lot of places. This is amazing.
Yeah, it's the people that make up communities like this and communities like SLU, right? The personality makes a difference.
That's right. When the place has a personality, you know it's a pretty special place.
Mm-hmm.
So what are some of the fun things that kids do, like maybe when they first come to Knox, or are there any like cool traditions that happen at Knox College?
Absolutely. Well, so my favorite Knox tradition is something that couldn't really happen in the same way this year that it typically happens. So it's called pump handle. So like a pump, like a water pump, right? So the day before classes start every single year at Knox, every single student on campus and all the faculty and all of the staff, everyone like me, everyone who works in our cafeteria, the president of the college, the mascot, everybody gets out on the lawn, and you form this giant long line, and the line turns in on itself so that you theoretically shake hands with every single person on campus. And it sounds really corny, and in some ways it is, but at the end of the day, you're sort of breaking down that initial, you're on the same team, right? That's the thing, is like, you're always going to be on the same team at Knox. Nobody's out to get you. Knox is not a place where people are competing with each other just for the sake of competing with each other. There's always like encouragement and support. Pump handle could not happen this year in the way that it would normally happen because, you know, folks can't shake hands, but we do a virtual pump handle. So alumni will check in from all over the world, and all of our students check in and say hello. So it's a really nice way to replicate things.
Oh, that's very cool. I love that. Could there not have been an elbow bump?
Maybe, and maybe in the next couple of months, once, you know, once folks are a little bit more comfortable with each other, have been on campus for a while, maybe we do an elbow bump or like a wave from a distance.
Oh my gosh. Well, what have I not given you a chance to tell us about Knox that you really hope that I would ask?
Yeah, well, I think that when you're looking at small liberal arts colleges, sometimes it's hard to distinguish them from one another. And I think that a couple of things I would say to just put a few things on Knox. Knox is on a trimester system, which is a little bit different. So students take 3 classes at a time and have 3 terms per year, so 9 classes a year. So that's a little different. Every student in their junior and senior year gets a $2,000 Power of Experience grant, which is basically a grant for research, or maybe you want to use it to live someplace while you're doing an internship or found a nonprofit or go abroad. So you can use that money for anything. So those are the 2 big things I would say. And then Knox does have a series of programs called immersion terms, which students don't have to do, but they're a little bit unique to Knox. They happen during one of those trimesters, and they're basically just trimesters in which students do one thing. So there's one called Green Oaks term, where students live at our biological field station for the entire 9-week or 10-week trimester. Not for me, but maybe for somebody else.
It's not happening.
I'm a little indoorsy, yeah. There's one called Startup Term, which is kind of like Shark Tank term. So students like form these small businesses and then pitch them to alumni backers. There's a Repertory Theater Term, where students live like they're in a theater company, and quite a few more. So that's something that I think is a little bit unique to Knox too. So those are kind of the 3. Again, I think it's personality too when you're looking at colleges like this, but those are 3 things that are a little bit unique that you might not find everywhere.
Very unique. And do they talk about those things in the Colleges That Changed Lives book, Sarah?
A little bit, yes. They do talk about the trimester, and actually I think they talk about all 3 of those things. So,
okay. Yes. Those are very unique and distinctive, even among small liberal arts colleges in Illinois.
Yeah.
So that is terrific. Well, thank you so much for your time today, Sarah. We loved having you here, and we look forward to having you here.
I know. I love being there. I really miss visiting, and I always miss I do. It's one of my favorite spots to visit, and I always like to work with you folks. So I'm sad not to be there, but in the future I will be again.
Yes, you will. Thank you so much.